Hello guys and girls, welcome back to the Racing Line for a brand new video here on the channel. We are back once again for another circuit guide, and it is week 7 out of 12 for season 1 in the D-Class fixed GR86 Cup. Once again with me, driving the Toyota GR86. The date and time is set to the 1st of March 2023 at 8 o'clock in the morning, and the track we are at is the Japanese circuit Fuji Speedway. It's a tricky circuit, one that I still don't think I'm getting right, but it is just one of those tracks. It is difficult to get right. Same format as before, breakdown lap followed by a full speed uninterrupted lap followed by an offboard lap. And during the offboard lap, I'll try and give you what I predict is going to happen overtaking wise. And as usual, this is filmed before the week has begun, so it's difficult to compare lap times. But let's see if we can help you guys find some time. So here we go on one of the longest main straights ever. We want to be on the left-hand side, ready for the tight right-hand hairpin of turn 1. The braking zone for turn 1, fairly easy to spot. It's going to be the 100-meter board. You're going to go hard on those brakes, slam those brakes 100% from 5th down into 1st gear. Make sure you're braking in a straight line as the car leans forward. Get it turned in, start accelerating just before the midpoint, nice and early, because it's actually wider than you think on the exit. So you can go right out there and then get back over to the right-hand side as you climb up for the gears for this next deceivingly fast left-hander. You're not going to brake that hard for this one. It's just as you approach the 50-meter board, slightly before it is when I broke. I'm going to dab the brakes. I'm going to downshift. Look at that, 40%. Quick dab the brakes, downshift to 3rd, and then straight back on the throttle. Now, this is tricky because you're going to come out to around the just out from the white line a little bit, turn in and hit this first apex, go out to the middle and downshift to 3rd. Feathering the throttle all the way through. Your main aim is to exit on the right-hand side so that you can see this 50-meter board and you can open up this left-hander. That's your main aim through there as you're feathering the throttle. Brake just before the 50-meter board again, down to 2nd gear, get it turned in, and again, you can accelerate earlier than you think, but be careful not to run too wide on that curve because it will drag you out. You've got a nice flat-out section here now where you can take a quick breather and digest what just happened for the lap. But you have got a tight and twisty section coming up. Out to the left-hand side, ready for this tight hairpin. You're going to brake just as the barrier turns from white to yellow. Again, slam on those brakes, braking in a straight line down to 1st gear. Turn in, start feathering the throttle all the way through. You can see we're going to lift off just slightly. It's almost flat all the way through that. I did a little bit of a panic lift, but it's flat out in 2nd gear. Out to the left-hand side. No brakes for this. Just a lift off in 2nd, straight back on the power. Careful, because the curb sneaks up on you. Hold it to the left-hand side now. And we're going to brake just about a car length after the curb on the left ends, with our car aiming towards the outside of the circuit. Hard on those brakes, down to 2nd, down to 1st, get it turned in. Aim for that post on the inside as an apex. Again, you can accelerate up the hill. Get over to the left-hand side again, once again to open up this final right. You really got to open up these last few corners. We're going to brake just as the wall ends on the right-hand side. Dab the brakes down to 2nd, late apex again, and try and get on that throttle as early as you can as your late apex in. The reason we late apex is to straighten up the car as earlier so that you can get on the throttle earlier. It doesn't work on some corners, but these wide corners, it really helps, especially if you've got this hefty straight after it. The later the apex you get, the more top speed you'll have at the end. But you do make yourself vulnerable to an overtake, so bear that in mind. Let's go full speed uninterrupted, what we just went over. So left-hand side, 100-meter board from 5th down into 1st gear. You'll see it as the curb appears. That's when you can see it a little bit clearer. So hard on the brakes, down to 1st gear, get it turned in, start accelerating smoothly just before the midpoint, up the gears, and you can use a little bit of the curb on the exit. Get over to the right-hand side now, and we're looking for the 50-meter board. We're going to dab the brakes from 4th down into 3rd. Just as we approach it, there's the 100, there's the 50. Dab the brakes down to 3rd, get it chucked in, and accelerate from the apex point. We're over to the curb now. We're going to come out a little bit. We're going to lift off, and then we're going to downshift into 3rd just to try and keep our power up and holding it tight to this right-hand side all the way around as we're accelerating once again. Get over to the right-hand side in 3rd gear. Dab the brakes down to 2nd, get it turned in. You can mount that curve a little bit on the left. The yellow sausage curve doesn't seem to affect the car too much there. And we're straight back on the power, and now we're holding it tight to the right-hand side. Flat out all the way through here. I'm just minimizing steering input through this long right-hander. If you can hear your tyres scrubbing, you're losing speed. And then, once again, the white to the yellow, hard on the brakes, down to 1st, get it turned in. And now watch the throttle here. It's pretty much flat out as you exit in 1st gear. Up into 2nd on the exit. Yellow sausage curve did nothing. Right over to the left. As soon as you hit the top of the rev range, lift off, get it turned in, start accelerating again, hit the post for an apex. Careful of those curves on the left. Hold it to the left now, just after the curb ends. Dab the brakes, down to 2nd, down to 1st. Use the post as an apex, start accelerating up the hill. Again, just before the post, we started accelerating. Get over to the left, wall ends on the right, dab the brakes down to 2nd. Late apex, aim for the sausage curb on the inside. Keep that steering input in because the exit sneaks up on you, and you should be able to accelerate all the way out of the exit of that corner, ready for this main straight. It's a lot to take in this circuit, and like I said, it's not one that I've perfected, and that final sector is very tricky, I think, in any car. So take your time with this one in practice before you do the race. As usual, that is pretty much it from me, so I'm going to leave you with this offboard lap. Let's go through what I think is going to happen overtaking-wise. Obviously, turn 1, with the hefty amount of slipstream you're going to get, main overtaking zone. Low risk, easy sends, inside and outside, depending on if the person in front of you is defending. As you exit the corner, the race should be done. As you go down towards this left-hander, high risk overtaking zone, to be honest. Can't see many people sending it here. It's not much of a braking zone. You just chuck it in, you get straight back on the throttle. However, if for whatever reason you do get a much better exit, you could see racing through here, especially if people are cautious of losing the rear end through this long right-hander. People might be putting too much steering input in, scrubbing off their speed, which will create an overtaking opportunity into this left-hander. Send it down the inside. I'm going to say medium risk overtake, although depending on who you're racing, it could be high risk there. But definitely, let's stick with medium risk overtake zone for that left-hander. You got a long run here, another slipstream zone into a tight hairpin. So I'm going to say this is a low-risk overtaking zone into this next hairpin. Send it down the inside. Will be tricky to pass around the outside of this corner, though, because of the way the following corners are. But down the inside, the move should be easily done. No overtaking through here, I imagine. Again, no overtaking through here. Late apex corners now. All of this section is late apex. Not really a braking zone there, so I can't see it happening. Definitely high risk. Here, though, some people might get enough of a run to send it down your inside. Anyone who's taking the racing line to open up this left would leave themselves vulnerable. Same for this final corner. Anyone opening up the corner to take the right is going to leave themselves vulnerable to someone sending it down the inside. However, you might get a better run on the exit if you just try and hang it around the outside. Again, creating opportunity into turn 1. So definitely the 2 hairpins on this circuit are going to be your main overtaking zones. Hopefully that's helped. That's pretty much it from me. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're approaching 8,000. We're nearly there. It's been a slow growth, but we're getting there. As usual, that's pretty much it from me. If I don't see you on track this week, then I'll see you next week for the next video here on The Racing Line. Peace!